Hello, everybody. Welcome to this very special podcast about transparency, about our new points campaign, about giving the chance to our community to ask the questions. So this is a very special one. It's going to be very different than the ones we've been having. Again, I'm going to host this one. I haven't been with you for a while, so I'm super happy and stoked to be back here with you. I see some of you are already starting to join us. We have 6 watchers and growing. So today we have Patrick with us, and we're going live to answer any questions that you might have. On today's format, is gonna, as mentioned, it's gonna be very different than before. What we want is for you to ask the questions. They're gonna appear here on the right-hand side, and we're gonna ask them to Patrick directly. I know there's been a bit of not issues, but a bit of concerns since we launched, and we have been addressing them, especially during transparency. And recently, we just launched the points campaign, so that's a super big topic that we want to talk. And we're gonna take around half an hour for this special program. So let's make the most out of it. And if you have any questions, just drop them on the right. So Patrick, do you want to give an intro before we start?
Yeah, absolutely. And Happy New Year to everyone, or should I say Happy New Year? It's good to be back on the podcast. It's been a while. If we look back, it's been 7 weeks, since Mu Digital has been live, here within the Monad ecosystem. So what we really appreciate from the community is the feedback they're getting along the way, because we've gotten a lot of feedback in terms of the first iteration of what we had, particularly over the last, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks in the holiday period. We've consolidated a lot of that, and we've put a lot of changes directly into our DApp to address a lot of the concerns that the community had. We just want to make sure that we have the most transparent product that's easy to use, and that you guys can share with your friends and continue to grow, this community. So I'll let Jose guide. I think, part of this is we did want to spend a bit of time on the updates we've made directly into our DApp, and then wanted to introduce our points program, and then answer any questions along the way.
Thank you, Patrick. And I see already some of you starting commenting. Hello, Coin. Hello, Karina. Great to have you as watchers. So don't be shy. Put your questions there. If there's something you want to get addressed directly, let's go for it. Patrick, you mentioned transparency is a big thing. And I think since even on testnet, we always talk about transparency and how other projects have failed because of this, and we've seen the crypto winters and things that are a bit sketchy. And this was probably the first hurdle since we launched. So how are we tackling? What have we changed? And how are we showing our transparency to our community?
Sure. And I think the easiest way to do this is why don't we just flash up our DApp, and then I can go through tab by tab some of the improvements that we've made. We launched all of these within the last few days. So as you go into our first dashboard, the first question from a lot of our users was, from each of the tokens, sort of how has the token price moved? What sort of yield has been earned on the Mu Digital tokens, and how has it moved? So we've made the interface a bit more transparent, but also just it's more apparent from the dashboard exactly what's happening with both of the tokens. We've always had sort of the protocol TVL and sort of how that's moved over time. Super happy with the early traction. 13 million for any RWA protocol is an awesome outcome within the first few weeks of launch. We've added some widgets here which show exactly the cumulative yield that's been earned. As everyone knows, we deploy the stable coins that we get from our users against off-chain assets, their Asia credit assets. So this is a real-time tracker of exactly how much yield has been paid on a cumulative basis. When you go from a token-to-token basis, you have our locked AZND, which is the yield-bearing Asia dollar. You have the TVL and the APY. The APY here is it's a rolling 7-day average. We want to show actual yield that's being generated on a rolling 7-day basis. And then the charts down here show how the price tokens have moved. So as you can see over time, we started deploying funds against the assets, and then the value of the token has gone to the right, which is what it should be doing, because every week as our investments or our off-chain assets pay out interest, we funnel them directly to the token. We have the same for the mule bond here. So you can see sort of, we have we talked a lot about, the tranching model, and, the locked AZND is the senior tranche, and then the mule bond is a junior tranche. So you see that's why the APYs are playing out the way that they are today. The locked Asian dollar is around 3.5%, mule bonds closer to 13%. But similarly, you see how the token price on the mule bond has consistently been accruing yield to the token. Now, behind that, we back in December, we launched our on-chain proof of reserves powered by our partner Accountable. We brought a lot of that straight to our front end. So it's more apparent on our DApp what's underlying the actual portfolio. So these two charts were familiar, have always been there. We've pulled a lot of the information that's on the Accountable tool straight to our front end if users want to understand what exactly is underlying our portfolio. So these charts here show, across the Asia credit investments we're making, what sort of sector distributions, from an industry perspective. So you can see, across banks, insurance, sovereign bonds. It's a diversified set, and that's intentional by design. This layer of transparency, or this level of transparency, is something that you should expect from any financial investment product if you're going to buy it from, your BlackRocks, Fidelities. This is the type of things that you would see. If you go down further in the on-chain proof of reserves, we show the bond ratings. So this shows you the type of assets that we're investing in, and sort of like how they're classified. And then, one of the promises, again, of Accountable is we always want to make sure that we have reserves that are backing up the actual supply of our tokens. So this tracks it here. If you click through, there's a lot more information that Accountable does have on their proof of solvency reports, and those are always available 24/7. We just wanted to make it easier for users to see it exactly, within our DApp. The last piece that we've added, which we spent a lot of time doing this, is in the Learn tab. So, we've always had the light paper. We published our docs, way back when we launched. We've introduced a lot of different frequently asked questions that we've gotten, over the first few weeks from launch. For those that haven't seen it, we do have a MU Academy where we have a ton of educational information on what is credit, what is Asia credit, what exactly are we investing in, how should you think about our products. And it's a range of articles we've written. It's podcasts we've shot in the past. It's explainer videos we've had. It's videos from some of our partners that talk about our products. So a lot of stuff there. It's meant to be educational content. It's meant for anyone that's new to us, or even if you're very familiar with us. We continually post new content about our products and about our partners. And then the last thing we put here was a risk section. So, risks and mitigants are, for any financial product in the off-chain world, you'll always have some sort of disclosure on what can go wrong, in terms of this product. And, if you're allocating your own hard-earned money or your hard-earned stable coins against this, how do you address these risks? So you can see that, the ones that we've written out here are some of the most frequently asked questions that we have gotten to date. From users, from communities, and we'll continue to update this as we learn sort of, what people want to learn and understand better about the product. So holistically, the product has stayed the same. I would say a lot of the interface and sort of those that are now in the DApp, we've enhanced these, and we made it a huge push because, as Jose mentioned, we've always started with transparency. We have nothing to hide here at Mu Digital. Everything behind our tokens, we want to explain it. We want to make it in a way where any user can make an educated decision whether or not this is the product for you. So that's what we've worked on.
Okay, I don't see any questions coming. So, and because this is a hot seat, I need to warm up your seat and start with hard questions. And I'm going to use some that I've seen in the community. And sorry about this, Patrick, but I'm going to start digging in some.
That's good.
So I've seen people asking, where are the ratings from? Like, who rates these? How can we trust? Not because we put a rating, that means that they're safe. Like, anybody can say, oh, these are AAA or these are or whatever. Tell us a bit of the ratings. Who does them? How are they rated? And why are they valid?
It's a good question. On the bond ratings, which we show here, I'll start with how it works off-chain. For all regulated bond products or fixed income products that are distributed it originates in the U.S., but really it's the same framework or credit ratings framework which is used globally. There's three agencies. There's S&P, there's Moody's, and I'm blanking on the third. I shouldn't be blanking on the third, but there's three that I'm blanking on. There are three global resources. We track this. So essentially, all of our bonds and all of our products that are publicly traded will have a credit rating that's on here. S&P is the one that's most used, most commonly referred. So usually when someone just says something as like a AAA rating, they're probably talking about the S&P rating. And Fitch is a third, so it's Moody's and Fitch. So usually the three are in pretty close alignment. So if something is an investment grade, it's AAA by S&P, it'd be I don't think I've ever seen a case where it's like AAA on one ratings and then like a C on something else. So they tend to be pretty in line. But the three large agencies are meant to have some sort of checks and balances on themselves. They're independent entities. They do their own due diligence and their own assessment on the credit risk of whoever the borrower is. So when we say bond rating on our DApps, it is, we have the data from all three of those credit rating agencies, and we're reflecting S&P.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for that. I've seen those questions coming, very, very specific. So thanks for clearing that up. Another tough question is the APY. And I've seen this coming, and I think it's something that needs to be cleared. Like, we've always prided ourselves of not being a scam that are promising 200 and then the next day it delivers 1%. So we've been saying a figure, and right now we're delivering a different figure. So tell us what's the plan, why is this, and how it's gonna change? Why the figure is not what we expected, or how is this figure reflected?
Yeah, no, and that's fair. I think for a long time, we've always said that we can offer up to 15% on your stable coins. 15%. Now, these are always numbers that were target numbers. So if you look at Asia Credit, our actual universe of things that Mu Digital can source and wants to source over time, it's the whole stack of Asia Credit instruments, which range from public bonds to private credit. On the public bond side, these really vary depending on which geography and how far down the credit rating you want to go. So in general, these can average like 2 to 10%. 2%, of course, being the most conservative. So AAA, investment grade, jurisdictions like Singapore, jurisdictions like Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, very safe, AAA, lower yielding bonds. When you start getting into the 10% bonds, you're starting to get into what's called high yield bonds in TradFi world. High yield bonds don't mean they're bad. They offer 10% yields, but you're paying 10% because they're riskier. They're further down the risk spectrum. So whereas conservative stuff at 2 is like AAA, if you want a 10, you're probably getting into like a single B rating, maybe even into C. So there's a whole range of stuff that we can source from the public bond perspective. The way that we're constructing our portfolio right now, we started conservative. And the only things that sit in our portfolio now are Asia bonds that are investment grade. And sitting in the investment grade sort of bond where we are today and where markets are today, the blended return across our portfolio is closer to 6%. So that's not without the tranching. So obviously you see that the Asia dollar is at 3.5 and then Mu bonds at 13. The whole portfolio, because we're only investing in sort of the safe end of the spectrum, is at 6 today. We haven't even started introducing private credit. Private credit is always something that crypto at large talks a lot about. Something that we've talked a lot about. We have the ability to source a lot of private credit deals. These things can be higher yielding. They can be 15%. They can be up to 20%, depending on what jurisdiction you're in, what sort of borrower background is, and these are deals that are underwritten by private equity firms, credit funds, investment banks. So they are diligenced credits. Our observation when we launched in November of last year was crypto is in a super risk-off environment. we are launching into an environment where liquidity is drying up across all of DeFi. There have been a ton of scams, from stablecoin scams, and we're a new protocol, so we are not going to start at the riskiest end of the spectrum. We want to make sure that our product works. We want to make sure that users are comfortable and trust, that we're launching a product that can deliver the yields that we say we are, but it's also it's an intentional design to start with some of the safer assets. So what I would say is, that's the reason that we sort of reflected the yield today to be a rolling 7-day average, but we're also showing you sort of how the token of the price has moved over time. But because this will change over time, it will be variable and it will be dynamic. As we decide to put in, I would say, for going further down the credit risk spectrum, as long as it's safe, you can't expect that the yields would go up. But we're starting conservative.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Risk return, and we're choosing the safe, as we pride ourselves of being a safe investment. I think that makes a total sense, to be honest. I still don't see any questions. I think the people are very shy to ask you any questions. So I think I'm on the hot seat because I'm asking the hard questions. So guys, please help me out and ask the questions so I don't have to put myself on the hot seat to ask the tough questions. But thanks for that, Patrick. I think those were the main questions that I've seen in the community asking, and you've explained them perfectly. I think it does make sense. And something we want to talk about is the campaign that we just launched. We have a new campaign. We launched it this month. We've been working so much on this. I think the community has been waiting and asking and are super excited about this campaign. And we have different things planned with this campaign. So tell us a little bit the overview of the campaign, why it's there, how does it work, and most important, what can people expect? What's the rewards? Why should they care?
Yeah, and as you mentioned, we're super excited to launch the Infinite Ways to Earn campaign. We're putting a lot of words behind it, but to cut to the chase, it's our points campaign. And the points campaign is usually for any protocol that is leading up to a bigger event, typically a token generation event, and that is our intention. We will, sort of with the points program, we're setting up the scaffolding. We've just started, so we will reveal more details, as we go along in terms of exactly, like the payouts and on a monthly perspective, how this will work for different users. But what you can expect is we designed a campaign that is meant to reward the people that have been with us early, similar to what we did on testnet, right? We had the Easter egg campaign, which we ran for a long time, which had a payoff at the end, which actually helps you now in this current campaign. It's the same way we think of bootstrapping liquidity now that we're live on mainnet. We want to reward the users that are here with us early. We want you to share in the upside. Ultimately, when Mu Digital does launch our token, and our points campaign is a way of our way of tracking that. So as we call our points Booleans because it's Mu Digital and we're bullish on everything. But as we start, I do want to highlight that it's called the Infinite Ways to Earn campaign because with our assets, there are a lot of ways that you can earn. And we know that different users in DeFi are at different levels of what they're comfortable doing in terms of sophistication, in terms of using complex DeFi strategies. So we intentionally designed the campaign in a way that you can earn no matter what your level in DeFi is and what you're comfortable doing. You will get rewarded more by doing more activities, and depositing more and referring more of your friends. But it is intended for everyone, no matter where you sit in DeFi. Just to describe, some of these broad categories. Of course, at the very base level, swapping your assets. So swap your stable coins into our products, AsiaDollar, Mu Bond, locked AZND. That's just the introduction. We want users to onboard into our ecosystem, but we also want users to use our ecosystem. So that gets into a lot of these other buckets here. Architect Strategies is meant for the power DeFi users. So for those that enjoy leverage looping strategies, we have a couple venues now which are live in terms of Monad native money markets. Curvents and Neverland are the ones that as of launch, that you'll be rewarded special bullions for. But if you're not an advanced DeFi users, the farm yield category is meant for you. This is meant to be, if all you want to do is earn the maximum yield possible on Mu Digital's products in one click, swap your USDC, swap your Tether, swap your AUSD into our products. These integrations offer you that. We do have vaults that are available on various providers, curated by different, I would say, risk allocators or curators. The first one we launched was with Accountable. Currently on the Accountable Vault, the net yield is 19.25%, which I think is super attractive if you don't want to go very far down, you're building your own looping strategies. We are rewarding people for putting liquidity on Curve, and then we also have another vault curated by Tulipa, which sits on. But we also know that outside of just the on-chain activity, we want to build our Muverse. We want to introduce more people into the community. We want our existing community members to refer all their friends to us and be rewarded for that. So basic things on socials, of course, join our communities on Discord, join our communities on X. But we also have a referral program, which it's intended to reward anyone that that gets their friends to use their referral link, and then their friends goes off and earns points in this program. You get a cut of their earnings, meaning the more people you refer and the more active they are in our community, the more that you earn yourself. And then the last thing that's mentioned here is our NFT holders. So the payoff of our testnet campaigns and the Easter egg was the Genesis NFT. Anyone that holds a Mu Digital Genesis NFT automatically gets a multiplier on the points. So again, that directly translates to your ability to accumulate faster the points that we have. So so a lot of different legs to it. That's why it's called Infinite Ways to Earn, because we want there to be something to do for everyone. We know that not everyone, is going to be deploying, large amounts of money against our assets, and that's fine, because it's also valuable to us that our community grows and more people are finding our community. So particularly for those that have been with us early in the Muverse, highly encourage everyone to take advantage of these, because it's a multiplier on your own points. But what I would say as well is we're always shipping, so you can expect that there will be some larger things coming in terms of different integrations on top of our product, which we will be featuring some of those in the future in here as well. Hey, Jose, you're on mute.
Yeah, rookie mistake, sorry. And just to mention, not because this is brand new, it means we start earning right now. Anybody who have been holding or been doing this since the launch of our platform, they are getting points. So if you log in and you connect your wallet, you might see a lot of points already there. So that's quite nice. It's not everybody starts from zero. And if you have been interacting with partners, you will also get your points in there. Give some alpha for some of our OGs watching. They've been asking if they're going to get some boosts or something, or what are we planning for some of them. We need to give them some alpha.
For the OGs, what I would say is, the biggest alpha is you've been earning the whole time. So the points program actually started when we launched on November 24th. So thank you for being active. This doesn't start today. We've been tracking on-chain activity since we launched. So I think now that it's clearer sort of what the guardrails are, I think you definitely get a boost with the multiplier, and refer your friends. I mean, that's the biggest. Honestly, it's the biggest flywheel that we can create, is by helping expand the community.
Absolutely. And I see a question. So we're going to go back to the questions, because I see one. Thank you very much, Karina. So I'm going to read the question that she has sent us. And if anybody else has another question, please drop it. I'm super happy to read it over here. So regarding the yield generation mechanism, can we create our own vault? Can users deposit stablecoins and earn yields in stablecoin? as simple as earning yield from our bank savings account. I think this would lower the barrier to entry for everyday users.
Yeah, I think in terms of vaults, it's an interesting concept. The short answer today is we've integrated with two different vault-like strategies where the interface is deposit your stablecoin, so USDC, Tether, ASU, AUSD into these different venues, and it abstracts away all of the swap into Asia dollar, block your Asia dollar, loop it on some strategy. Now, with each vault, it depends on the curator and it depends on sort of the strategy that they're putting against that. And for each of the vaults that we have live today, SharpByte curates a strategy which is a little bit different than a strategy that Tulipa curates on the Lagoon Vault. So I think for users, look into the farm category if you're looking for the easiest one-click, how can I earn on top of Mu Digital's products? You are, it depends on how comfortable you are, relying on a curator to do a strategy. But in general, we're trying to partner with firms that, first of all, that we trust, but also that, that have experience doing this stuff. And, it's not like we're their first vault, for any of these. So, deposit your stable into a vault right now. What I would say is use our partners. Going forward in the future, of course, like we're always, Mu Digital is always looking for ways to deliver, user experiences that you guys want. And what we think we're good at doing is going out and finding attractive yields that are off chain. So, so it's possible in the future that there may be other innovation that we look at as well.
Thanks for that, Patrick. If anybody else wants to ask another question, this is your time. We're about to approach the ending of this session. But before that, I just want to give users another chance to ask questions. And meanwhile, I would like to ask you about the launch campaign. We have quite a few launch campaigns. One of them is fairly generous. Like we have launch, people have been accruing this from the 24th of November, and we just launched a campaign to give 15 people double their points. So the winners would get double their points on those ones. That's quite something. So tell us about that campaign and any other campaigns that we have in the pipeline for this launch.
Yeah, we're excited to launch this campaign. And the first thing that we wanted to do in the first week was ensure that our community understood, how the campaign works, but also reward you guys and give you guys an opportunity to have the first look, and the first ability to multiply your own earnings within this. And so that's why we've designed the campaign that we just announced yesterday. Jose will be, running this one in the Discord, and a lot of it has to do with inputs or feedback or content that comes up from the community, which we've seen this a lot in the testnet period. Our community is awesome in terms of coming up with content. Whether it's explainers, whether it's videos, whether it's memes, whether it's art that we want to learn what your guys' experience is. Interacting with our integration partners, interacting with our product, because you can expect that as the weeks go on, we do have other campaigns with other partners. Some of them are existing partners, some of them are new partners, which we haven't announced yet. So there will be a lot of different shortish campaigns that we run going forward. But first, we wanted to put the spotlight on our community, make sure you guys get all your questions answered, and give you guys an opportunity as well to earn by participating early.
Perfect. I see one last question that just popped before we close. And what's the point for? I think you already said this, but I think it's important, so you can remind everyone.
Yeah, the points are important. The points are they're meant as a way for us to track the early activity. We do want to reward early users. We are going to launch token, so the point, you can expect that the points will continue to accumulate up into our TGE. We'll continue to, as decisions are made on specific timing on that and how it will, of course, we'll always announce that on our official channels. But this program is intended for users to engage with our with us, with our products, with our ecosystem, and to be along for the ride, as we look forward to our own token launch.
Fantastic. Thank you, Patrick. And I think we're gonna close with that. It's been a great informative, a lot of clearing up from questions I've seen from the community. It's super important that we stay transparent, that we tell the community and we give them the chance to ask whatever they like. I think that's something that in the space we all need to improve, and it's great that we have that platform over here to do that to the users. Anything from your side to say goodbye?
No, I think, for the users, we are excited. It's the new year. We've been holding back a few things as it was the whole period. It's the new year. View Digital is going to keep shipping. This is a major campaign we're excited about, but you can't expect that as part of this. There's a lot of exciting announcements coming up over the next few weeks. So thanks for everyone's support going forward. Thank you for all the feedback. Keep it coming. For us, it is important. We're not just building for ourselves. We're building for users. So as you guys see things with our product, suggested improvements, we're always available in our Discord, on our X. So let us know, and we'll keep shipping.
Absolutely. So take part in the campaign, double your points, be the first one. There's only 15 places. So take care, guys, and goodbye.
Chimio.